So if I brought up the question, who is the strongest animated character out there, what would you answer? Would it be one of those obvious answers like Goku or Superman, or, Sung Rizwu, Sung Jinu? Would it be those kinds of answers that seem pretty obvious? Well, up until recently, like a couple of nights ago, I kind of believed in those kinds of answers, like Superman and Goku. But I recently got on a Discord call with my friend, and I don't know, we suddenly brought up this topic, and it kind of got me thinking. Because basically he was asking, Isaac, in anime, which anime verse is the strongest? And obviously I gave him the answer that the Dragon Ball Z universe is the strongest, like there's no doubt about that. But then it kind of like delved further into animation in general, because, we were going into like Goku versus Superman and all that stuff, right? And then I thought about it a little bit further, and none of these characters are the strongest in animation history. Like, no one from anime or superhero comics, so DC, Marvel, whatever company Invincible's made from and all that stuff, none of these can compare to cartoon characters. Now, to be more clear, what I mean by cartoon characters aren't, those shows like animated shows like DC and Marvel and all that stuff. Well, maybe except for like Teen Titans Go, I guess. What I mean is like the old classic stuff, like Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, like those kinds of shows, SpongeBob. Those are what I mean by cartoon characters. Now, there's only one main reason why I say that cartoon characters are the most powerful in animation history. And that's the Toon Force. So what is Toon Force, you may ask? So let me just drag the whiteboard over here for a second. The Toon Force is a power wielded by cartoon characters that basically warp all of reality around them in a comedic manner. To help further explain this, here's a clip from Daffy Duck explaining the Toon Force.
In the hands of a master toon, it can be anything. It can be lighter than air, heavier than concrete. It can defy the laws of time, space, and irony. To master it, you will need to understand physics, quantum mechanics, macroeconomics, and ancient Greek.
Now, the most common examples of Toon Force are things like drawing a tunnel in a mountain and going through it, but others can't, not falling off a mountain until you look down, and brushing the ash off your body after taking like a stick of dynamite to the face. Not to mention that the Toon Force also allows characters to not only break the fourth wall, but kind of change the story entirely by taking over the writer's position. And if you want to think even closer about it, Toon Force is kind of like saying, nuh-uh, and then, it happens. Like, let's take a look at Superman. He's done many incredible feats. He's flown to the end of the universe, sneezed away our solar system, took out literal gods, held infinity, and all these other supernatural feats. He is quite literally the strongest being in animation. And as much as I love Dragon Ball Z and Goku, a lot of Goku's feats actually don't compare to Superman. Sure, Goku's and Beerus's fists colliding could be felt across the universe, but Superman farting could probably do the same. Now, I know that this is a debate that constantly happens over and over again, with Superman evolving and Dragon Ball Z characters constantly evolving as well. But I think Superman winning is a little more realistic because he has a lot more powerful feats. And I know it's ironic that I say this because, as people of this channel know, I am a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I grew up with it. But again, I think I'm just being a little more realistic at this point here. But at the end of the day, I think it all comes down to which author / which writer or artist or whatever can make the most bullshit happen. And this is why cartoons, are more powerful than anime and superhero comics. It's the level of bullshit, the literally unholy amounts of bullshit that is possible. Let's say we have Superman going up against Bugs Bunny. No, we're not talking about multiverses, Smash is better anyway. And let's say Superman decides to use his heat vision to incinerate Bugs Bunny. Now, this wouldn't work because, well, Bugs can do so many different things to cancel it out. But let's say he does incinerate, right? Well, he could literally just dust himself off and be like, what's up, Doc? You're gonna get a real beating. Hit you with the old 1-2. I'm so sorry for my terrible Bugs Bunny impression. Another thing he could do is just pull out a mirror and reflect that with a damage multiplier like it was Fox's Reflect. And let's say Superman drops a nuke on Bugs Bunny. Again, he could either dust himself off or convince the nuke to either turn on Superman or just not blow up. The Toon Force allows for infinite counters or healing methods for Bugs Bunny. He can pull kryptonite out of thin air, and it's just not gonna be any old kryptonite. It'll be bullshit kryptonite where Superman can turn into a cream pie or whatever. Hell, I don't even really need to rely on hypotheticals. There's actual evidence out there too. In Dragon Ball Super episode 69, nice, there was a filler episode where they did a crossover with Akira Toriyama's other popular work, Dr. Slump. In this episode, the main character of Dr. Slump, Aurelie, comes over to the World Invention Awards ceremony hosted in West City. Vegeta, Bulma, Mr. Satan, and Dr. Norimaki, Aurelie's creator, are present at that ceremony. Now, at this point, Aurelie was under the control of Dr. Mashirito, a villain from Dr. Slump, and she starts wreaking havoc, which prompts Vegeta to fight her. Now here's where things get really complicated and bad for Vegeta fans, I guess. He can't do a single thing to her. He even goes Super Saiyan Blue to try to stop her, but he literally gets sent flying across the planet. Like, they straight up say that she's using the abilities of a cartoon. So there we go, that's Toon Force. Hell, Aurelie split the Earth in half and then put it back together like it was nothing, and she even gave Goku a hard time too. So quite literally, the two strongest characters in all of anime were soloed by a fucking robot girl. And they've fought robots easily in the past. I mean, just look at the Android Saga.
That's actually a translation error. You know, they're technically called cyborg.
Shut the fuck up, nerd.
But I knew.
Guess I'll kill myself. But yes, even the strongest characters in all of animated history can't really stand up to the Toon Force. We've seen the most nonsensical, reality-warping, mind-boggling bullshit happen in cartoons, and they're all fine. Like, have you seen how many episodes of Tom and Jerry there are? Tom literally gets shot, electrocuted, blown up, turned into a vase, and in the next episode, he's back perfectly healthy. Now, some of you fellow nerds out there will probably say, but wait a second, Mr. Mxyzptlk, or whatever, Mxyzptlk, there we go, and Batmite have powers that are very similar to the Toon Force, or are the Toon Force, so, and they've been beaten before, so, you know, how do you counter that? While those two characters are cartoonish in nature, they don't wield the powers of the Toon Force. They have powers similar to the Toon Force, but they can't wield it. To further explain, these characters, yes indeed, can rewrite reality and all that, but they follow a specific set of rules and have a clear weakness. Such as Mr. Mxyzptlk saying his name backwards, you know? But the Toon Force doesn't follow any rules at all, except it has to be used for a comedic purpose, but still the possibilities are limitless. So now people will probably say, okay Isaac, you've explained the Toon Force and how mind-bogglingly bullshit it is there a weakness for it? From what I've seen at least, I don't think there is a specific weakness for it just yet. Hell, I mean, like, two cartoon characters going up against each other will either like be like endless, could end the world possibly, or they just resolve it with, we can be friends and learn from each other kind of bullshit resolution, I guess. The only logical weakness that I can really think of is viewership / popularity. The point of the Toon Force is to be comedic at the end of the day. If the characters aren't popular enough or the jokes aren't being comedic enough, then the writers could probably scrap the show and the characters would then cease to exist. So technically speaking, we the viewers outside of the show are the cartoon characters' source of strength, but also their greatest weakness. But that's just a theory, a copyright infringement that's gonna come my way if I continue with that. But yes, I believe cartoon characters like Bugs Bunny and SpongeBob SquarePants are the most powerful beings in animated history. I mean, straight up, literally SpongeBob unraveled the entire universe. And it's simply because they can't be defeated because they have way too much bullshit on their side. Like, again, like I said before, these characters get ripped in half, blown up or anything, they'll just walk it off. Now, I know that this could spark a huge debate between people who like, you know, comics, anime, and even the cartoons themselves. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I mean, like literally the context for this video is that like my friend and I were up at like 3 a.m. just talking, and I guess my logic could be based off crackhead hours, but I mean, hey, I think it's a pretty solid argument. And hey, I managed to blow his mind, so maybe I could blow your minds too, I guess. Or maybe this is very obvious. Why am I even making this video? But again, thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to see more content like this, or come back to another discussion in the future, hit that subscribe button maybe. Right now, I know this may be a long shot, but I want to try and reach 1K subscribers by the end of this year. But yeah, that's all I have for this week's video. See you guys next week. Peace.